Rocket Belt is 2,500 again? Yes! We're back to the golden age of Neeko! Oh my god! Oh, thank God. God bless next season. Hey guys, you probably just saw my live reaction to the new Protobelt cost. I am going to be giving you now my opinion on all the items now that I played with them all today, instead of giving you the live reaction, which is just me just going crazy. If you want to see live reactions, check out my Twitch, and I'll be streaming live tomorrow again, doing some PvE games, and like and comment on the video, but let's get going. So the big news, which you already know I'm hyped about, Protobelt. I call this Protobelt because back in Season 9 and 10, before the Mythics became a thing, Protobelt was 2,500 gold, and it built from Alternator and Kindle Gem, which is this. So I refuse to call it Rocket Belt, it is Protobelt. And this is absolutely insane, because for me specifically, in lower elos was okay, but for me specifically in very high elo, this item was too expensive and impossible to get. And now at 2,500 gold, we are now back in the age where I can build this item and look for big engages every game. I am super stoked. So yeah, also on it, the Alternator is now got, instead of 25 AP, it has 50, but it lost the HP. So not only is this item cheap again, but now your early game snowball is better, because when you get this, you're just way stronger than you were before. So I am super excited about this item. I'm going to talk about all the items, but let's go through the support items that I'm going to support with this, because I'm a support who plays in high elo and I need cheap items. So to start off, another favorite of mine, back in Season 9, I used to build Shirelias with Protobelt all the time. Shirelias back then used to give HP, but it's still pretty good. 2 item spike for 2,500 gold and 2,200 gold. You can use your Shirelias, W, Ulti, Rocket Belt, right? And find some really big flank angles. So this will probably most likely be kind of my core 2 items, but also on top of that, we still have the same old Abyssal Mask. Where is it? Abyssal Mask for 2,400 gold. This will probably be a very similar 3 item spike. I'm probably going to go in most of my games, just very cheap items, very good items on Neeko. But yeah, also actually, by the way, one more thing that's crazy that I realized live on stream today earlier. This item is insane. Like, this is going to get nerfed hopefully, but like Morello's is 2,200 gold and gives 90 AP. To put in perspective, the old Rocket Belt used to give 90 AP for 3,200 gold. I mean, you're getting 90 AP, 15 ability haste, and grievous wounds for 2,200 gold. Like, it's just like the value, like even this, like this 3 item spike is insane value. Like 90 AP for that cheap, tankiness, like wow. So yeah, this item looks insane too. So going through all the support items here that I will probably be building on Neeko. It's back to also the old Zeeks. So how the old Zeeks worked is when you popped your ultimate, you see how I get this little zone on me, which actually slows and damages enemies in it. This used to be one of my favorite items. It's like kind of niche, but it's good if you're like peeling melee, like bruisers or something, and you're putting the AoE slow zone on them. So maybe something I'll be building every now and then uniquely. Another good item, Knight's Vow is still good. It didn't really change. None of these other items really matter. Trailblaze, which gives you like move speed. The effect will show in your passive, so I probably won't ever build it. You see like this effect. If I turn into a minion or something, it'll show it on a minion. So yeah, I probably won't really be building that much. But yeah, we got then the next big news is Locket not being a mythic again for 2,200 gold. Like, I can easily see myself even just going Rocket Belt into Locket in a lot of games. Just again, super cheap 2 item spike. I can go in, I have my Locket, try to survive, help my team. So yeah, I mean, things are looking really good. And the last big item from the support items that I want to talk about is Mandate. So the way the new Mandate works is, first of all, it gives 60 AP. Not bad. Again, think about that. 2,300 gold for 60 AP. This is 2,200 gold for 90. It's just insane. I can't get over this item. It's so ridiculous. Makes no sense to me. Like, we buy that for, it's for 1,400 gold. You're getting 60 AP and 15 ability haste. Like, what? Like, what is going on? Anyways. Mandate, the proc now, instead of it doing like extra damage for yourself, it doesn't. It only does it when your ally procs it. But as you can see, it is 12% of current HP now. Percent HP 12%. So this item actually might be a good niche item if you're peeling tanks. Like if there's like a 6k HP Ornn coming in and you can like hit this Mandate on him, you're going to be doing like, you know, maybe 700 damage in a single proc on him. So yeah, if their enemy team has lots of tanks, this could be okay. But other than that, that's like the big news of the support items. So yeah, let's go on to some of the tank items that were added, I guess. So the tank items are looking pretty similar. Again, we already kind of went over Zeke's Locket. Another big one is now Frozen Heart is 2,300 gold. So this will be actually a pretty decent niche item for Neeko also if the enemy team's got a lot of attack speed champions. Probably won't ever really build Thornmail because the other one is so good. Over the new items, they're kind of, a lot of them have this effect we have to be close. Like this one, you have to be close to the enemy. It's not very good. This one, again, you have to be close. It's not very good. This one seems okay, but it's like, would you really build it for 2,900 gold over Abyssal Mask, which is cheaper and like helps your team? But it's kind of cool. It kind of gives you like this magic shield for 12% of your HP, and when you're out of combat, you get it back. So pretty good versus like poke comps, like maybe if you're versus a Xerath or something, right? Not bad item. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the tank items, though. Not very much has happened with the tank items here. Mage items now. So big changes, obviously the Rocket Belt and the Morellos, which we've already talked about. Yeah, not much has changed. I mean, Rod of Ages might be a nice niche item for top still if you're going like that top AP on hit. Horizon Focus, when you proc it, it reveals enemies around, but I don't think it's really that good still on Neeko. It lost the HP. Neeko really likes HP, and she doesn't really proc it that well. Like the whole reveal others around, like your range is so low, you probably already see them. This one I never got a chance to try, but basically when you hit your ultimate, it burns the ground beneath them and doing magic reduce and reduces their magic resist. But again, no HP. Probably not the item you want to go. Storm Surge seems to be like kind of like the new like go-to item for mages. I could really see, like, especially for mid lane, like going Rocket Belt into Storm Surge. It's kind of just like if you do 35% of their HP within 2.5 seconds, you get move speed and this extra damage. Obviously with how Neeko plays, where you're going in, right, and you're hitting your combo, boom, and now I got that extra move speed, and I've procced the Storm Surge for an extra 318 damage. It's kind of like the new Shadow Flame kind of item where most mages are going to just be building it. Look at it just proccing, right? Like it kind of goes hard. So for mid lane, you're probably going to want to be getting Storm Surge next. So yeah, that's like a pretty decent item. There's this new Crypto Bloom, which is kind of this new Void Staff. Void Staff still gives you more HP and more pen. This gives you a bit less, but gives you ability haste. And the idea is after you kill someone, it puts a heal on the ground for 50 damage and 50 ability power. It takes a lot of ability power for this. Like when you think about it logically, right? Like say you go on this 3-item spike. I have 240 AP right now, right? So it's like 50% AP ratio. That's like 110 plus the 50. It's like 150 heal right now. On a 3-item spike, it'd be healing for like 150. It's not that great. 150 heal. I mean, yes, it can AoE heal multiple teammates, but like that's not very good. I think this item will really need you to be like, if you want to go this, it's probably like a death cap angle at least, right? So you can get up to almost 400 here. So it's like around 250 heal, right? Or even if you got it later in the game where you got like this much. Right now it's like getting a bit, but it doesn't really seem like something you just like. I think you'd much rather just have the Void Staff and the extra 10% pen. But also the way Neeko plays, where she goes in with her ult and her team follows up after, it's still not a bad option. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. This item felt kind of underwhelming when I built it, but we'll see. I didn't really try out this item that much. It's kind of a weird, it kind of like stores like charges on you. And then when you hit the enemy, it like breaks the charges to do bonus damage. So like I have it on me right now. It's charging up 2 stacks, 3 stacks, right? And it's charging up. And then when you like hit someone, it like releases all those stacks. But I think it's kind of like the poke mage version of the Storm Surge. So like the Storm Surge is like you go in as a burst mage and do that. I think this is more for the poke mage, right? Because Neeko's range isn't that good, right? Like sure, we like procced and used all of them. But like realistically, this is more for someone like a Xerath, I think, would be like this far and like keeps proccing it all the time and getting the extra damage in. Where Neeko would rather have Storm Surge, but it's probably also just number based. Maybe this item will just be so insane, like who cares? But I have a feeling it's going to be more like this is for poke mages and this is for burst mages, right? It says burst damage, so who knows? Maybe it'll be good too. I didn't really try it out yet, so. And it's kind of like one of those things you'll have to really see the damage. I mean, we can test the damage right now, actually, right? So let's just like go like this, for instance. And let's just throw 1Q. Or wait. Yeah, let's stack it up. Let's do a quick test. Not very good for the video, but oh well. Let's do a quick test of like get it up to 4, 5, 6. Okay. So if we throw a Q, no resistances or anything. We did 955. And let's get this. Because they are like this. Basically, this is actually cheaper by a bit. 955, and let's go boop, boop, boop. And like now, yeah, like, I mean, we did more damage with this item and it's cheaper. It also gives move speed, which means it helps Neeko find ultis. This is more of a poke item, I think. And this is like more for Neeko, who's a burst mage. So yeah. Anyways, keep looking at items here. So another good change of items that came in. I haven't really looked at Archangels. I'm assuming it's similar. Yeah, it gets a shield. So another big change is Leandri's is now an HP item. which, if you didn't know, a big reason I didn't like this item on Neeko is I always said Neeko really wants HP, and it was an mana item before, which isn't that great for Neeko. But now that it's an HP item, I could actually see myself slotting this in versus like a tanky team to do bonus damage to them. I was also like theory crafting some builds today for like AP on hit, but I could also see this being pretty good with like Nashor's Tooth plus the new Riftmaker. Riftmaker gives you AP scaling with the amount of HP you have built. And this seems to be bugged right here, but it's like the old Demonic Embrace passive, and it gives you Omnivamp as you stack up. So it's like this kind of a build where you're going to be in combat for a while, just hitting enemies, and it's like, okay, well now I've stacked up like bonus damage from this and bonus true damage from this and kind of build. So maybe I'm going to play around with this kind of build. It might be too slow a build, but I was also thinking like Rod of Ages Rush, Nasser's Tooth into like Leandri's Riftmaker, and you just got so much HP, so much percent damage, so much freaking Omnivamp and stuff. Like Regen Combat, deal 2% damage up to 10%. Yeah, and this one also. Wait, are they the same passive? Void, Corruption, and Torment. Yeah, you can stack both of them. So for like a nice damage over time effect where you're like DPS with Nashor's Tooth, this could be an okay build, but we'll have to see. I have to test more. Cosmic Drive now has HP, which again, Neeko likes HP, so this is now a better item on her also, although I still don't think you really want it because Neeko kind of wants burst, not this kind of like sustained movement speed kind of thing. Even in the sustained DPS build with Leandries and stuff, you'd rather have like a death cap instead of this. So before we get into the Banshees and the expensive ass Zhonya's and Banshees, if you remember, used to be I think 2,700 gold or 28, and Zhonya's was 3k, so they both got more expensive. But let's look at Shadow Flame. I don't think Shadow Flame's gonna be good for Neeko. So basically how it is when the enemy is low HP, you can now crit them with your abilities. So they're below 30% health, you do 20% more damage. The problem is usually Neeko's engaging on people at max HP, and she throws all her spells, and then like they're all on cooldown when they're low HP, and then your teammate hopefully comes in and finishes them off. She's not really this kind of champ that wants to keep continuously hitting them with low cooldowns. So because of the fact that you're usually hitting them at like high H, like you're going in at like the start of a team fight, everyone's 100% HP, you flash Neeko out, use all your spells, and they're probably all going to be above this threshold. So it's probably not really a Neeko item. But let's go into Zhonya's and Banshees. So Banshee's really expensive now, but it builds from the Gerard. Instead of having 80 AP, it has 120 now. So this item actually scales pretty well. Instead of like being a defensive item and now you just don't do damage because you buy a defensive, it's like you buy a defensive and you still do damage, which is nice. And Zhonya's is the same. They removed stopwatch from the game, by the way. There's no longer a stopwatch, and the stopwatch rune is gone, but Seeker's Arm Guard here is now your stopwatch, right? You can pop it and it's broken. You can only use it once. I like that because it always sucked, like if you're going into late game, right? Say you have this and you have, I don't know, Storm Surge and you have a Void Staff, and now you're like late game and it's like, okay, well, like what now? Like on the old one, you would have bought the Fiendish Codex, right? And the stopwatch, and then you break the stopwatch and you're waiting and you can't buy the rest of the components. This is really nice because the stopwatch is now you can buy your 2 components, finish the item for 400 gold, and you're not like wasting inventory space. But yeah, Zhonya's also 120 AP now. I will say, for support, this item's kind of expensive. I mean, Rocket Belt plus Zhonya's combo will be still cheaper than the old Rocket Belt Zhonya's combo, but the old Rocket Belt Zhonya's was too expensive for me. 1250 gold for a needlessly large rod is way too expensive for support most of the time. So, like I said, I'm probably not going to really go for this for support. There's actually, I'll mention at the end, there's these new support upgrades, so I'll mention why I don't necessarily need this for survivability, but for mid lane Neeko and stuff, this is amazing. Like the cost only went up 250 only went up 250 gold, and you get an extra 40 AP. Like that is hella worth considering 400 AP gets you 20 AP, right? And we spent 250 AP to get 40 AP. You lose a little bit of armor, but let's be real, like who cares? You lost ability haste, let's be real, who cares? Like you got burst. Overall, it seems like Riot removed a lot of ability haste in general from a lot of items. Everything I covered actually has ability haste. Maybe I'm just making stuff up, but yeah, those are the AP items. And let's go on to the ADC items. So there's actually only one new ADC item in the game right now that they added. Fortunately, the new item they added is actually a Neeko item. The Termius, it basically makes it so that you get on hit damage, attacks, be an AD, whatever, but you have the light and dark, and every auto goes back and forth between light and dark. So when you auto as a light, you get armor and magic resist. Then you auto as a dark, you get magic pen and armor pen. You auto as light, you get more magic, and it stacks up until you get up to maximum amount of magic resist, armor, and pen. So it basically just makes you, as you're autoing, you start doing more and more pen and more tank. And actually, I'll just show you real quick, I guess, right? So I buy this item, right? First auto, right, gets me a bit of armor magic resist. Second auto gets me pen, and it starts stacking up as I keep autoing. It starts stacking up. and you start getting more and more and more until it gets to maximum stacks, which I believe is 5, right? So after 5 autos, or 5 times 2, 10 autos. But I think also it stacks with the Rage Blade. The Rage Blade has the double passive that makes it so that you can like get a double auto in sometimes. So I think it's like, for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I was already stacked up before I got to 10, right? So if you're comboing this with Rage Blade, which usually will on Neeko because double proccing Neeko's W and Rage Blade, really good. Rage Blade lost the pen on it, but this item did. I will say this item, when you get the pen, it blocks out all the other pen items. So yeah, I think the AD Neeko build is going to be pretty similar. Also, Bork gives you a slow on your first auto instead of move speed after 3 autos. So like you go in and you can like hit an auto, which slows them and hopefully can line up your route better. But yeah, I think the AD Neeko is going to probably be Bork. You don't think you want to get Termis second because it only gives 30% attack speed. It's going to be a big DPS loss because you don't really need the pen that early. But again, Neeko loves magic pen because all her spells do magic damage, and armor pen because you're building like AD items. So I think it's going to be that into Rage Blade into Termis, right? And it's going to basically be just, you know, you get in there and the Rage Blade is going to help you stack up your Termis quicker. And before you know it, now all of a sudden it's like you got a lot of magic resist armor and penetration and you're doing tons of DPS. So I have a feeling this will be the core Neeko build, and then after that you can get whatever you want. Again, you can still get Zanya's. To mention, Wit's End got changed. Wit's End no longer gives AD, but it gives 10% more attack speed. It gives 10 more magic resist, and it gives tenacity now, so you don't sit in CC as long. So overall better, because who really cares if you're losing AD, because we don't really scale with AD. And 20% tenacity is pretty nice. So yeah, I could even see like after these, if they have a lot of AP, you can get that. And now you got 2 magic resist armor items, and you're getting tenacity, so you're not sitting in CC as long. So yeah, AD Neeko didn't really change that much. I think this going to be the, I mean, I didn't change much. This is a brand new item and it's probably core, but this is probably your 3 item core. And then after you can go between like Zanya's or Wit's End or freaking even Phantom Dancer got a little bit of changes. It's a bit better too. So probably looking at these items, but yeah, let's quickly, I'm dragging on a bit. Let's go to the support items. So for the support items, there are basically how the support item works now is there's one support item and it gives no AP anymore. And you've got your first one. Now you can proc it by hitting the enemy like before, or you can farm minions. So you can do either or. As a ranged champ, you're mostly going to be hitting it. Then after you got enough gold, it upgrades to this version. And once you got enough gold, it upgrades to the final version. At this version, you can now pick any of these 5 augments to upgrade your support item for free. No cost, you just choose one. This one, in my opinion, is the best. Unfortunately, though, it's basically the old Shattered Queen. The problem is it's like the old Shattered Queen will show through your passive, even as a minion. I'm going to message Phlox and hopefully get him to fix this. But if he can, like, I think it's the best one by far. Basically, if you're a melee champion and someone hits you, you take 40% damage reduction for 2 seconds. And if you're a ranged champion, 25. As we know, Neeko can use her passive to turn melee. So if you have this and you always walk around the map as a melee champion, you're going to take 40% damage reduction, right? So remember when I said that Zanya's is like too expensive for Neeko now? And you probably won't be going it. Like imagine, for instance, you go like Rocket Belt and into a Locket or something, right? And then now you have also a 40% damage reduction shield on you and you're face checking a bush and someone jumps on you, you're not going to die, right? Then you can try and run with this and like pop your Locket and try to run. Or even if you have Shirelias, you can pop your Shirelias and try to run with the 40% damage reduction as long as you're a melee champ. And then usually if you're going for a Neeko ult, you're probably going to reveal yourself as Neeko and get a 25% damage reduction on that kind of a combo. But yeah, I think this one is by far the best one for Neeko. And even if it's not fixed, even if Phlox doesn't fix it, I'm going to be real, I'm probably still going to buy it. I think it's still just by far the best one. And hopefully he fixes it. The next one makes it when you land a root, you basically get 120 HP for you and a nearby ally and 90 movement speed. It's not bad. Like if you hit an ult, you get a bit of movement speed, and if you hit a root, you get some and the 120 health. But the 120 health never ends up being nearly as much as this. It's not going to save your life. You get face check and get opened on by an Fed assassin. This will, so I probably really don't want to be forced to buy this. Hopefully they fix this item. Bloodstaying basically makes it so that your next auto attack after you use a spell basically applies Even Shroud, but only on one target. Old Even Shroud was removed. You can know this, you can't apply it to everyone. You can apply it to one target. It's more of like a Senna item where you like hit the enemy with like a Q and auto attack and proc it kind of a vibe. So yeah, I'm probably not going to really run this that much, but we'll try it out and see how it goes. The Dream Bubbler is like an enchanter item. To be honest, I didn't even read it because like I'm not an enchanter player. And the Zazak Spark or whatever is kind of interesting. When you hit the enemy with an ability, it puts like a little swaying circle underneath them that pops up and does damage based on their percent HP. Yeah, it's not bad, but if you hit a root, it guarantees the hit. If you hit a Q-Pock, they can kind of just walk out of it. But if you hit a root, it's okay. It does decent damage, but again, I mean, the damage, unless the enemy team is very, very tanky and you want to get this and combo it with like Imperial Mandate and actually be able to like help shred the front line, I think that the best one is by far this one, 40%. And also, by the way, Shattered Queen was a 40-second cooldown. This is 15 second, guys. 15 seconds cooldown. Every 15 seconds, you get a shield that if you turn into a melee champ on your team, you take 40% less damage for 2 seconds. Like, absolutely insane. Like, if a Rengar's opening on you and you're just sitting there, you're taking 40% less damage for the first 2 seconds of its opening, which is enough time for you to, like, get your ulti off and hopefully, like, kite out, right? So, again, this is why I'm saying that with this is why I'm okay with Zhonya's. Like, the big downside of this new season is that Zhonya's is, like, just not accessible at all for support Neeko unless you're in low elo, which most of you probably are. But for me in the elo I'm in, like, this is just not accessible for me. But I think this thing will make it more accessible. And again, even if it makes my passive useless, I might still just run it even just because it's so broken. So yeah,